Hi, I'm James Williams and this is Chimes Media. Well, Home Secretary Amber Rudd resigned on Sunday the 29th of April, and I can honestly say I'm not sorry to see her go. I already wrote to my MP a few times and she was mentioned in derogatory fashion in my letters. I regard her as an authoritarian bigot. So that's rather strong words, but she is the one that's behind. She's the Home Secretary. She decides ultimately, whether or not Martin Sellner and Lauren Southern and anybody else. And I think the latest one was the Malaysian guy Tam, who used to campaign at Speaker's Corner every week. He was blocked. She's the one who is responsible for those sort of things happening. So she already made statements, and I'll read this out. The government would be tightening the law that UK citizens repeatedly reading certain forbidden internet content would face up to 15 years in jail for looking at websites. Okay, well, it's all very well. She said she went on the site. Well, that meant terrorist content and jihadists and bomb making, but also far right propaganda. Now that's something that gets me. It's not because I'm far right or right wing or anything else, but it's subjective. Who decides that? It's like hate speech, and this is what it's about. You've said hate speech. Who decides who's hate speech? Well, she's one of the ones who decides. She's one of them, if you know what I mean. So the fact that she's gone, I'm not sorry. She was apparently in January, besides being Home Secretary, which is kind of a very busy job, she was also made Minister for Women and Equalities. So she's got feminist credentials, and from what I've learned of feminists, they tend to be the unapproachable ones tend to be very authoritarian. And kind of single-minded about things. You can't talk with them, and there's no grounds for that. I think that Theresa May herself is a declared feminist as well, and they can't get over this wage gap thing. They can't come to terms with it. It's got to be changed, and the only way it can be changed is forcing an equality of outcomes, which anyone with any sense knows is a disaster policy. So she's in with that sort of thing. She's on side with that. But let's see now. You see, she was Secretary of State originally for Energy and Climate Change before she was given the Home Secretary's job in July 2016. Okay, so the Home Secretary's job is a bit of a poison chalice, because there's many politicians have fallen astray in both Labour and Conservatives. It's not a great. I mean, it's one of the big ministry positions, of course, but it's not a great one if you want to retain your job, because there's so many complexities involved in it. I mean, we had not so long ago the head of the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service. Her contract was not renewed, if you know what I mean. She is a declared feminist, and basically she was pushing the agenda of prosecuting more men for sex crimes. And one of the reasons why she got slung was that she was denying, or her department, and she knew about it, were denying the defences of men accused of sex crimes relevant evidence that proved that they were innocent. And she was quite happy to let that go and to prosecution and put them under all kinds of destructive stress and ruining their lives. But she didn't care about that. That was Alison Saunders. Well, she's answerable to the Home Secretary, right? So you've got Amber Rudd, and before Amber Rudd, the Home Secretary holds the record for the place was Theresa May. Theresa May, the Prime Minister. They're like cut from the same cloth. So I've got no time for that. Actually, I was a Conservative, but I can't be supportive of this Conservative government because of its austerity. It's nothing like a Conservative government. It's become so authoritarian. To clamp down on internet freedom is, to me, that's a red rag. That's a no, a big no. And so again, Amber Rudd, I'm not sorry she's gone. Now, if you don't know about it, the Windrush, what's the Windrush thing? Well, way back in the 1960s and 70s, there were a number of Commonwealth citizens came to live legitimately in the UK. And of course they start families, and many of them have been, integrated well. There's no problems with them. There's bound to be a few that have committed crimes, but by and large they've done very well, and they've contributed well to British life. Well, anyway, what happened was that the Home Secretary, or the Home Office, should I say, decided to threaten. This is Amber Rudd's directive, if you like. Decided to threaten the children of migrants from the Windrush generation. That was the people who came to Britain before 1973. I don't know the reasons why it was called Windrush. Other people can look into that. That's not really important. But then they required these children, who obviously are grown up by now, to prove they had the right to remain. Well, that's all very well, but the government had destroyed the documents. So it was a ridiculous situation. They put them in an impossible situation. And God knows how much stress they were put under. Now, the numbers you're talking about, the numbers given, I think it was to The Guardian, was 12,800. 12,800. You think, well, that's actually a lot of people, isn't it, really? It's not simply, it's only a few numbers. 12,800 is a lot of people. Now, Amber Rudd gave a series of apologies. I don't know, there's 4 or 5 apologies, because what happened was she was coming up with different excuses why things had gone wrong. She was trying to square the circle. But, if you look at it, in reality, Theresa May's responsible for what went on there, the destruction of these documents and stuff, because it happened before Amber Rudd actually took over. So, Amber Rudd, I don't like her, but I'm doubtful whether her resignation was, a justifiable thing. I mean, it wasn't entirely her fault. She just, I don't like her as a person because I don't like authoritarians. I don't like feminists because they're authoritarian. You can't talk with them. They've got a set point of view and they won't listen, as in the case of the wage gap nonsense. Forgive me for the pronunciation. Sajid or Sajid Javid. If you want to spell it, S-A-J-I-D and J-A-V-I-D is his surname. Now he's going to be the first ethnic minority to hold the Home Office position. He seems to have got a background involved in business stuff and things like that. So I'm cautiously optimistic he won't be as authoritarian as Amber Rudd, but if he's picking up the baton and he's being pressed by a higher office, i.e. Theresa May, to clamp down on so-called right-wingers, there may be no change of flavour. But I think he's probably a better bet than she has been. I'm not sorry to see her go. She'll crop up somewhere else. I mean, she's not as if thrown on the scrap heap and unemployed on the dole queue. She's not going to be like that. She'll find something for her. But anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye.